Is it raining? Yeah. Oh, hello there. So this is the ruin chat. How's it? Oh, nobody's there. Oh, completely messed up, man. Can you tell them I messed up and I've started a new link, please, Kerry? I must say, especially you. Yeah, yeah, I completely messed up, man. Oh, I'm just having a bad day, man. The phone was in portrait mode when I accidentally pressed the go live button, and it wouldn't let me change it back round. So I had to just start another tour, man. I'm pissed off, man. So I'll just delete that video that was up there. So yeah, apologies. I just messed up, you know. It's not like me. And the weather's horrendous today as well. Yeah, heavy winds and rain this morning and this afternoon. Roads are all blocked off. Lorries have blown over on the A82. If somebody could perhaps share this link, because yeah, I completely messed that one up again. It's the second time I've done that. You accidentally you go to like touch the screen, right, and it just sometimes it just hits because the go live button is quite big and compared to the smaller button that you're actually looking to click. And yeah, it's a pain in the butt, man. Because it won't let you switch back. If you start the phone in portrait mode, it won't let you switch it back to landscape mode. So I had to obviously switch it off and put it onto landscape mode and lose the people that was on the link. There was only 12 people there anyway, I think. So say hello, anyone's watching. Could you say hello in the chat, please, so I know who's here? Because I made a boo-boo. It's not like me, you know. I made a boo-boo. Yeah, so the weather's atrocious today as well. For what, about the third time? I've not been doing hardly any tours, and every time I go to do a tour, the weather's absolutely crap. So, all in all, I'm a bit cheesed off. It's blowing a gale here too. It's blowing a hoolie all over Scotland. As I said, there's a big lorry blown over on the A82. The A82's all blocked off round about Rannochmoor. 54-mile detour in either direction. That's the problem in Scotland once you go up north. I don't know if Barbie's here. Hi, Corey, Dawn, Linda. Yeah, it's absolutely brutal here. So I had to go to the doctors this morning as well. I've got asthma and COPD now, and I've been struggling to breathe. So I had to go to the doctors today as well. So I'm not having a good day, to be honest. I'm a bit cheesed off. But anyway, let's not worry about that. Hi, Barbie. So you're here, anyone? Nan. Hello, everyone. So I'm having to do a tour from home today because the weather is atrocious. It's an A to Z of Edinburgh tour. And I was going to do a tour of Arthur Seat. Hi, Susan. I was going to do a tour of Arthur Seat, as you can see in the background there. Arthur Seat live on Hagel with Paul. It says it was taken a year ago. I actually think it was taken over a year ago, but I'm not sure. I uploaded it a year ago, but whether or not the tour was done a year ago, I don't know. But the weather's quite bad on this tour as well. So then I was going to do the Botanical Gardens. I was going to lie to everyone and see it was an A to Z, and I was going to do A for Arthur Seat, but the weather's so bad I'm going to do B, which was the Botanical Gardens. But because of the high winds, the botanical garden's at the risk of getting closed as well, because of the danger of the branches on the trees, obviously. So I couldn't do the botanical gardens, and I didn't want to go up to town because it's just too windy and the weather. It's a Friday, the signal's too bad. Then it started heavy rain. But see what happens, Linda, if I do that, right, you lose the top and the bottom. You know, it's this app. It's this Prism app. It's a pain in the butt. Because, yeah, I used to be able to, like, line up the gimbal so that it was, you know, you could just see the TV, you could just see the screen, the monitor. Because of this app, it's kind of hard to do that, because I can get in, right, but then you miss some of the. I'll try it and see. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's because of the app Prism I'm doing it on. Don't start. See that? When it clicks it moves back. Why does it do that? I had rewinded that all the way back to the start, right? And for some reason it wants to start on the 20th minute. God, I wish I was more technologically advanced than what I am. So I'm having a bad day. I actually put a lucky dip on in the shop, right? You know the lottery, the lucky dip? And I left the lucky dip in the shop! I didn't pick it up. I got home, I'm like, where's my lucky dip? So I've left the lucky dip in the supermarket. So I'm not having a good day, everyone, so send positive thoughts to me, please, because I'm having a crap day. Where's it gone? You're not looking a very hoary bunch today, I must say. Especially you. Hello! How's it going? Look at this beautiful lock here. This is a man-made lock, actually. St. Margaret's. It's one of 3 locks on Arthur Street. Julie, Linda. I'm just going to turn this down because it's the start of a Hago tour. Usually the first 10-15 minutes on a Hago tour, it's just me welcoming everyone who's coming in to the tour. So I'll do this as a from home, but I'll do the commentary live. I might put myself back on it at a couple of points. But so yeah, this is St. Margaret's Lock. It was actually made by Prince Albert. He wanted it to look more scenic for obviously it's just next to Holyrood Palace. We'll speak about that little chapel up there in a little while. I'll actually go up to the top of the volcano. It's actually a really horrible day. I watched back a couple of this video and the wind is horrendous. So I'm not sure when this is filmed. It was uploaded in March last year. I think it was towards the end of Hago because the signal's not very good. As you can see, it's kind of the images, so there's all the birds taking off. Because towards the end of Hago, I think they must have stopped spending money on whatever it is that they were spending money on to make sure you got a good signal. The last couple of months on Hago, we started getting really bad signal problems. And down here at the Arthur Seat, the Holyrood Park, is usually quite a good signal. Yeah. Yeah, so it's I had to do it, as I said, I had to do it from home because the weather's just bad. If you looked out my window just now, you wouldn't realise it because the sun's shining. I'm not sure if this is the Hago video that I done where I was playing 10-pin bowling with the pigeons. We'll see in a couple of minutes. I got pulled up. In fact, I think this was made before March. I mean, did I put it up in March? Because Hago complained. I'm not sure, that's what I'm just thinking. I'm not sure. or if this is one after I got the complaint. That's St Anthony Chapel, lovely views. That's right in the centre of Edinburgh, isn't it? Fantastic scenery. You wouldn't think you were in the centre of the capital city of a country, you know. So here's the pigeons coming up. Virginia, Turning Falls, is that the name of the place? Got these rats. I got pulled up for animal cruelty for playing 10-pin bowling with them. Queensland, Australia, Scottish, however I live in Greece. I'm not sure if it is. I think it might be the one with the pigeons. I'm just going to see what happens. There's lots of wildlife here. The swans are mooch swans. We get the Canadian geese and the pink-feeted geese here. Also lots of different types of ducks and hens, coots, moorhens. Yeah, look at that cloud. It's a similar day to today, actually. Here we go. Here's the pigeons. Oh yeah, it is. This is what I got pulled up for. It's like 10-pin bowling with the pigeons here. Yes, take that. That's it. And that's what I got pulled up for. 4 months after it was uploaded or something like that. I can't remember, but like yeah, it was definitely a wee while after I did it. Somebody complained to Hego that Paul was causing animal cruelty to the pigeons. I didn't even touch them, it bounced over its head. It was a tiny little pebble. So apologies if anyone is offended by me attacking the pigeons. The gorse. The gorse is there. Yeah, you can tell. I think it was in the winter. But so I'm just going to show you this picture of the volcano here. Look at this. So that's an artist's impression of what the volcano would have looked like. You know what I mean? A lot higher than what it is now. It was actually 350 million years ago when the volcano erupted, and we had just split off from Canada. Scotland was actually attached to Canada and America at that point. 400 million years ago, we were attached to the same landmass as Canada and America, and we broke off. England was not even attached to Scotland yet. England was in a separate continent, and we moved around after splitting off, and eventually we smashed into England. And yeah, so the whole of Scotland is volcanic, Jurassic. The volcanoes erupted at least 350 million years ago, but then the landscape was formed at the end of the Ice Age, like 10, 11,000 years ago. So this landscape has only been created in the last 11,000 years. But it really is a spectacular walk. I'll fast forward this a bit because we're nowhere near walking away up the volcano. I'll just fast forward it. Yeah, because I think this is the start of the tour where I'm just like, what's it they call it when politicians talk rubbish? Filibustering. This is for Teresa, everyone. Teresa's brand new to Hego. She's all the way from Canada. And Hobo is a Canadian dog. Here's me. I'm playing the hobo. Teresa, you've got a big round white button. Somebody's on Hego for the first time. It's me trying to tell them how to take postcards. There's a good postcard for you. Denise, Pamela. For some reason I was playing the hobo, the hobo, the dog. I think it's Canadian. Oh yeah, that's right, I was playing it for the Canadian lady. Joining my tour today. My name is Paul. Roxy. Won't leave there. This is a tip-based platform. If you like to leave the tour guide a tip, you can do so at any point. You can also take postcards in the centre of the screen. This is me telling everyone you had to do this at the start of every Hago tour in case there was somebody watching for the first time. You had to tell them it's a tip-based platform, how to take postcards, how to follow your channel, and so on. If you could follow my channel, and that is one way of helping. Yeah, The Lockless Hobo is one of my favourite songs actually. And doing what Melissa just did there and leave a tip. Thank you very much, Melissa. You must have great confidence in me. Oh, Melissa was watching it. Melissa still comes on my tours now and again. Canadian pink-feeted geese here. Any ornithologists here? Hello, Ian. How you doing, buddy? Does anyone know if they're Canadian geese? Pink-feeted geese. Oh, that was when they had the zoom in button as well, wasn't it? Remember the zoom in button? They're not. On Hago. Thanks, Jim. Well, I'm sure one of them attacked me last year anyway, whatever kind of geese it was. Or the duck. So welcome to the grounds. Oh yeah, I got attacked by a goose last year. I was trying to take a selfie. This is a man-made rock. This was made by Prince Albert. There's actually 2 volcanoes here. And today we're going to climb a volcano. Canadian geese are black and white with a ring around their neck. Oh. So that's 13 minutes and the video's only 55, so I climbed up that in bloody 30 minutes. That was before I got COPD. Melissa, take care. Yeah, there's around the world, Canada, my friend in Canada's been getting problems with this storm. Prism Live. Yeah, I know, I found that out. You can zoom in, eh? You can zoom in with your fingers. It's quite awkward, but you've got to use 2 hands. It's quite awkward. So that's me, what's that, that's 14 minutes. 40. So about 40 minutes it's taking me to get to the top. I was actually going to climb to the top because my asthma and my breathing, the COPD's been quite bad the last couple of weeks. Before the start of this tour today, I was going to climb up to the top of the volcano and start the tour from there so you get to see all the views. Oh, look at this, what I'm up to now. There's Nessie. See, looking back on these videos from Hago sometimes, I just don't know what I was playing at. I've played the Littlest Hobo, I've played 10-pin bowling with a pigeon, I've played the Littlest Hobo theme tune, and I've now got the Loch Ness Monster out in a whiskey jar. I don't know anything about birds. I've got no idea how I got away with it for so long on Hago. I became one of the top 15 Hago guides in the world actually, and that was, I only ever done a few tours a night. I could have been one of the top 5 Hago tour guides if I'd done tours in the night time, you know. But yeah, I don't tend to do many tours at the night time, although I'm meeting Mikey tomorrow. I've got a tour on tomorrow, everyone, at 1 o'clock, quite early. Oh, and Mary as well. Oh, that's right, so I had the Virgin Mary, 10-pin bowling with the pigeons, the Littlest Hobo, and the Loch Ness Monster. You need to give me some encouragement. I'm going to climb a 281 metres, 251 metres. And sometimes listening back, you listen to yourself making quite small mistakes as well. It's This volcano erupted 350 million years ago. It's called Aforseat, or the Hill of the Arrows. Nobody knows why it's called Aforseat. Yeah, nobody knows why it's called Aforseat. The origins of it has been lost. Some people think it's the Hill of the Arrows. Some people think it's connected to the fable King Arthur, and so on. But the origins of why it's called Aforseat, nobody really knows. That's a well coming up. Look at the clouds. Look at the clouds. And there's Edinburgh in the background. You see Edinburgh, the clock. You see Edinburgh poking through there. Scott Monument. Yeah, and it's raining. The rain's starting as well. It's starting to rain as well. Rain was forecast for 2 o'clock. Did it rain at 2 o'clock? No. Is it going to rain now? Well, it started. Must have been a 3 o'clock start. That's a well coming up. I don't know if I'm going to talk about that. That boulder there. Surely. It's an old well. Used to be lots of holy wells as well. St Trudiana, St Margaret's Well as well. Obviously St Margaret was a Scottish queen, a royal saint. St Trudiana was allegedly one of the followers of St Andrew, who brought his relics to Scotland. They told the followers, take the relics of St Andrew to the end of the earth. So they landed in Scotland. And that was sometime between the 4th and the 8th century. And she settled near Edinburgh, just near the volcano actually. She settled just about 10 minutes from the volcano here. And a Pictish king that was alive at the time, she was a very beautiful lady, but she was devoted to God with St Trudiana. But a Pictish king wanted to marry her. So Trudiana replied, why do you want to marry me? And the king replied, you have the most beautiful looking eyes I have ever seen. So she took quite a drastic plan of action. She ripped out her own eyes and put them on a thorn and sent them to the king. And she became known as a healer for blind people. And there's a shrine dedicated to her near, just near the volcano, about 10 minutes away, a place called Wrestlerig. There's actually a well just down there, actually, called St Trudiana's Well. And yeah, she became a saint. She was canonised by the Pope. So if you've ever got any problems with your eyes, you pray to St Trudiana. There's Calton Hill, the Parthenon in the background as well. The Nelson's Monument, looking down towards the Port of Leith. The gorse has not got any flowers on it, so it's definitely not in season. Must be in the winter or early spring. The wind's really bad on that day as well, whenever it was filmed. I don't know why I'm hearing the wind so bad, because I should have my good microphone on, you know. Because that plant would normally look like this, you see. The gorse, the yellow gorse. So there's also otters in the loch as well. I've never seen otters, but there is otters there, and there's various birds of prey, little kestrels and sparrowhawks. I saw a sparrowhawk and a kestrel up on Arthur's Seat before. Edinburgh Castle on the left hand side there. Calton Hill kind of in the middle. The Athens of the North. Oh, you can zoom in now, look. I remember I asked Hagel before, just as they started to get a zoom in function, and it took them a year and a half. And then he went and gave the money back after a year, because the zoom in function was fantastic. There's Holyrood Palace as well. Oh, I'm going to do a tour there next week. See there? I'm going to do a tour, not inside the palace, but outside the grounds. We're not allowed to film inside the palace, but I'll do a tour of the Abbey next week as well. I've never actually seen an otter, by the way. When I go to my tours to Mull, there's hundreds of otters on Mull, and I've never seen one. So here's St Anthony Chapel, of course. It's older than 14. They don't know the exact date of it because of the Reformation, but it's at least it's old. It's probably 14th century. Yeah, the Pope sent money to get it repaired in 1426. So it was probably attacked by the English when they were sieging Edinburgh. Of course, Edinburgh Castle has been attacked about 26 times. So obviously the armies of sieging Edinburgh have destroyed the surrounding buildings and so on. So yeah, it's been damaged just after an invasion by the English. Then of course during the Protestant Reformation of 1560, I saw otters where Gavin Maxwell lives. Oh, I've never seen an otter. I've only seen a puffin from the distance as well. A puffin is, look at the rain. It looks like it's going to rain up there, doesn't it? See the rain opening. Yeah, I've only seen a puffin from distance as well. They reckon the Romans were here as well. There's several villages and forts. It's the highest point. The top of the volcano is the highest point in Edinburgh, 251 metres. And the castle is the second highest point. So there was a fort here. Right, but at some point they've decided to make the permanent fort out where Edinburgh Castle sits today. But yeah, there's been people living here for thousands of years. It's been quarried as well. It has been quarried. They used to graze sheep here as well. It was a forest zone as well. The weather's getting bad. This gimbal moving in the wind. See, the wind must be really bad. Oh, the umbrella's going up. The rain started. There's nothing worse than doing a tour up a volcano when the wind's howling and it starts to rain and you're trying to protect your gimbal and your phone. The phones are usually quite waterproof, but the gimbals are not waterproof. What am I complaining about? Oh yeah, I've got a gimbal in one hand, umbrella in the other, and I've got to get the bag on my back. Should have put the bag on before I put the umbrella up. But you need 3 hands being a virtual tour guide in Edinburgh, because the weather's that bad. No, it must be quite bad. I'm glad I didn't go up today. It's quite similar today. Hey, Attic girl. I've had to do the tour from home today because the weather's so bad, but the weather's really bad on this tour as well. Oh, the gimbal's falling over, look. My bad run of luck continues. Is anyone watching that new Gladiators programme on the TV, by the way? They've brought back Gladiators. Gladiators, are you ready? Contenders, are you ready? I've not watched it yet. I never used to watch the old one very often as well. Gladiators, it wasn't really my cup of tea. If you can all like the video as well, by the way, yeah, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribing. Thanks, Linda. Is Cheryl here today? Is Cheryl watching this because she was on watching that tour? I remember when I was doing the Hago tours, I went up with a geologist to learn all about Arthur's Seat, you know. This girl, lovely girl, she took me up Arthur's Seat to teach me about the geology of the area and so on. Look at the wind, I'm fighting with the gimbal and the umbrella. And yeah, the first time we got to the top and we got hit with, it's Arthur's Seat, Attic girl, yes, it's Arthur's Seat. A for Arthur's Seat. I was going to do it live, but the weather's horrendous today. Big winds, heavy winds, 40-mile-an-hour winds and heavy rain, off and on. So I thought, and I've been quite ill recently with my asthma, so I thought I'll just do the tour from home. So luckily Diane reminded me I had a tour on Hago on YouTube from Arthur's Seat. So I thought I'll just show it and talk over it, you know. Somebody's asking me if it's okay to go up. Were you on that tour, Don, were you? Yes, I never showed the person on there. Yeah, somebody asked me if it's okay to go up. They must have been quite concerned about the weather. I just said to them, oh yes, it's Edinburgh, pal. It rains 191 days of the year. See, got lovely blue skies. See the struggles we put up with being a virtual tour guide. Well, I remember starting my Hago and it was virtually, it was white out storms, blizzard conditions, and I swore. It was only about my 4th tour on Hago, and I'd done 2 tours back to back, and my gimbal ran out on the top of Calton Hill, and it was the first time I'd been using a Samsung phone that Invisible Cities gave me, and it told me there was only 10% left on the battery, right? And then the screen went completely black, and I thought I'd been cut off, and I started swearing, you know, I'm Scottish, you know, you effing B, you know, because it was like freezing cold. I'd been out for 4 hours, I was freezing cold, and then the gimbal ran out of power, the phone ran out of power, and I swore several times in a row, and I didn't realise I was live on Hago, and a couple of people complained they could still hear me. But see, my next tour, I got loads of people on my tour because I became notorious. So people actually joined me to hear me swearing. Hey, Ozzy Flids, I'm having to do the tour from home because the weather was so bad. But looking back at this tour, the weather was really bad that day as well. Heavy wind and rain. But I was younger then. I didn't have COPD. So I was going to do it live from the top of the volcano. Yeah, I'm hoping there's a Starbucks or a bar at the top of this volcano. Do you think there's anything going to be a bar? That's how you get these reviews from people, don't you? Go to 1-star review when they climb Ben Nevis. Very long walk, no facilities at the top, and there was nothing to see because of the cloud cover, and it was a very boring walk back. Because that's the people who walk mountains. They forget once they get to the top, they're only halfway there. You've got to walk all the way back. What I discovered on this when I was doing when the geologist took me up R4C to teach me about the geology, the lava formations coming up here, right, is actually from the castle. You know the Edinburgh Castle? That sits on top of a volcanic plug as well. But they're about a mile and a half apart, I would say. A mile and a half apart, because the Royal Mile is a mile long, just over. And then the walk from here to there, probably about just over a mile and a half. And this lava formation coming up is actually from Edinburgh Castle. And that just blew my mind. I was like, how can this lava here? This is lava here. I says, how can this be from the castle? But it was because of the end of the Ice Age. You know, the Ice Age moved things hundreds of metres. Big, massive, huge boulders, like hundreds of tons, were just moved. They were pebbles because the ice was melting, and so on. So, there's Mary coming out again. Mary was giving me encouragement there. The Virgin Mary was giving me encouragement there. Did you see that? I don't know why I started bringing out the Virgin Mary. I don't know if this is the one I brought out. I done whiskey. I done a toast as well. Francis died. Remember Francis, the Hago tour guide? Yeah, poor Francis died, and I don't know if it was this tour, but I done a toast from at the top with a glass of whiskey. I don't think it was this tour, but I took some whiskey up and had a good glass of whiskey and sung a wee song. That's me doing a rosary on the way up the volcano. I've got no idea what I was doing sometimes. But I must admit, the 2.5 years we're on Hago, it was a really good couple of years. I got an actual job, because I was only working part-time, voluntary for Invisible Cities before Hago. And because of the success of Hago, I got a full-time job during COVID. I must have been the only person who works in tourism to get a full-time job in COVID. So it kind of changed my life as well. So this is called the Dry Dam area. So by the 12th century, the Abbey of Kelso and the Scottish royal family used to own all the park here. This got voted the #1 walk in Britain, by the way. You can. I wonder how many visitors go up a year. Actually, it just came out last year about the number of people who visit attractions in Edinburgh. The Edinburgh Museum is #1 in Scotland, just over 2 million. And Edinburgh Castle is almost, I think it's 1.9 million people went to Edinburgh Castle. Over 1 million went to the Botanical Gardens. 1.8 million went to the gallery, the National Art Gallery. But it didn't give you the numbers for R4C. Because I'm not joking, no matter what time of the year, no matter what time of the day, night, month, day, week, you will never be alone on the top of R4C. There is always somebody there. Because all the young dudes go up at the weekends and nights taking weed and magic mushrooms and all of this kind of thing. So there's always somebody on it, because the pagans go up as well. It's a place where you go on May Day. You know, on May Day, the 1st of May, you go up at the crack of dawn to wipe your face to wash your face in the dew. It's that kind of place as well. But it's called Holyrood. You know, it's called the Palace of Holyrood, and this is called Holyrood Park. It can either get called Holyrood Park or the Queen's Park, or if the King's in power, the King's Park. So it's got like Holyrood Park or King's or Queen's Park, it's called. And it's called Holyrood because of King David I, remember. So King David I sort of established the boroughs. A very, very important king was King David I. One of probably the most important Scottish kings ever, actually. People say King James IV was one of the best ever kings. He was certainly the best, probably successful Stuart king, until he decided he was called the Renaissance king, until he decided to go into battle against the English at the Battle of Flodden, of course, and he was the last ever king killed in battle in Europe. So King James IV and he was only quite young as well, like 35 or something like that. He married Margaret Tudor, remember, the sister of Henry VIII. So that's looking down towards Leith. You can see the refugee boat with the Ukrainians on it. See that? That was a cruise liner with all Ukrainians on it. I'm saying there's 500. There was 1,200 on it at one point, Ukrainian refugees, but they left last June. The contract ran out last year. So the Ukrainians got dispersed all around Scotland. And we've got quite, Scotland's only 9%, 8.2% of the British population, right? But we've taken in 20% of the number of Ukrainians, refugees that are here. So we're only 8.2%, but we've taken 20% of all the Ukrainian refugees in Britain. So we've taken in more than double our allocated share. And the Ukrainian people have really taken to Scotland. There's been Ukrainians here since the end of World War II, and there's been a lot of Ukrainians here for like 70 years. But so now there's more in Scotland. So yeah, we've got a heavy Ukrainian presence in Scotland. Edinburgh is actually twin with Kyiv in Ukraine as well, so that's quite good. But yeah, back to King David I. He used to visit the park for hunting purposes. Whenever he was in Edinburgh, he used to stay at the castle at this point. But they reckon it was around about 1128. He had set out on a holy day, right? On a holy day. So a holy day is a Catholic day where you must attend Mass. It's where holiday comes from, obviously. And so he went out to hunt on a holy day, and he was not supposed to. The priest told him no, and his advisor said, no, you should not be going out hunting on a holiday. However, King David decided to defy them, and he went out hunting on a horse. And he got separated from his party, just down, where the first loch was, where all the swans were. They actually reckon it was round about there. So he got separated from his party, right? The hunting party. And all of a sudden, a big, massive white stag appeared, and the king was thrown from his horse. Now, there's various different versions of what happened next, but basically the king started to struggle to rise and defend himself from the stag, and then either the stag was blinded by the crucifix around his neck, or the king prayed to God, and whatever happened, the stag disappeared, and what was left behind was a crucifix. Some people say it was just a wooden crucifix, some people say it was a golden one, and some people say it was a crucifix that was formed by the branch of the antlers from the stag. And that night the king had a dream that he'd been called by God to build an abbey. And so there'd been monks that was working in the grounds down there, right? And so he decided to build an abbey for the monks because he'd been saved by getting attacked by the stag. And so he did. So he built Holyrood Abbey for the monks, and then that was around about 1130. And then they started, obviously, all the visiting kings, the dignitaries, the nobles would come and visit, and they had to build accommodation, and that's where the Holyrood Palace came from. So Holyrood is Holy Cross. Some people say that Holyrood comes from either King David or his mother Margaret had a piece of the original cross that Jesus was crucified upon. And there's looking down towards Leith. My house is over here. Oh, here is it? Yeah, I can't see it. Yeah, there's my house there. That's where I am right now. I'm in there. I'm up there. That's quite weird watching it back, knowing that I'm playing this video and I'm in the house now. Can't believe the cloud is beautiful. It's like today. It's very similar weather to today, actually. You're getting beautiful blue skies, rain, blue skies, wind. Yeah, out in that's the Firth of Forth down there as well, and there's lots of volcanic islands down there as well. Inchcombe, Inchkeith, Inchmickery, Feedra, Bass Rock. There's all these volcanic plugs in the Firth of Forth down there. I'm trying to show a photograph now of something for some reason. Obviously about the wind. Oh, this is what it was like when it erupted. I'm just going to show a picture of what it looked like when it erupted. So you can see all the volcanoes. So that's from, I don't know if that's Castle Hill. Yeah, I'm not sure. Can't really tell. It wasn't in this location at that point. The temperature was about 12 degrees Celsius, so about 55 Fahrenheit, something like that. It's quite cold today. 12 degrees Celsius the weather was on that day, whatever I was doing it. So there's 7 holy wells round about the Arthur Seat, the volcano as well. There's actually 2 volcanoes here. There was actually 2 volcano eruptions here, 2 separate ones, which I didn't know about until I went up with a geologist. It was about 5 years ago or something like that. I went up with a geologist, and I've lived in Edinburgh for decades, off and on, and I did not know there was actually 2 volcanoes here. We just assumed it was one. So yeah, so see all this lava formations here. This comes from the castle. Oh, I put the gimbal down for some reason. Must be put umbrella away or something. The rain must have stopped. Yay for Scotland and its kindness to Ukrainian refugees. Yeah, we've actually really integrated well. We've all my soccer team, my football team is Hibernian, and we've had a charity set up to help Ukrainian orphanages for about 20 years now. Hibernian went to play a Ukrainian team. That was when it was still part of the Soviet Union, of course, and the currency was Ukrainian. And they couldn't exchange it, so they just gave all the Hibernian fans who went to see the football game just donated all Ukrainian cash to an orphanage, and then they started giving they started doing fundraising for them, and collecting clothes and toiletries and so on. So that's been going on for about 20 years. So when the Ukrainian war broke out, the leader of the charity had to go over to Ukraine to try and help the Ukrainian orphans escape. So we managed to get over 80 Ukrainian orphans over to Edinburgh, and they've been here ever since. They still want to go home to Ukraine. Well, the last I heard 2 years ago, they still wanted to go home to Ukraine. Whether or not that's the case now about going home to Ukraine, I'm not sure. It's obviously an ongoing situation over there. And of course, Putin just won another so-called election. But yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, they've also used the Arthur Seat was also used for burial grounds as well, by the way. Where the chapel is, right? Because obviously back in the days, if you were an important figure, you can see we're getting a lot higher now. We're about halfway up at this point, I think. Yeah, back in the medieval periods, in the Catholic churches, the important people would get actually buried inside the churches until they realised along came summer and the body started to smell. There's the top. It would take me a bit longer to do this year, I think, to climb the volcano. And yes, there's been people who buried here as well. Also during the plague, in the chapel they were buried, but in the 16th and 17th centuries there was victims of the plague. All the graveyards in Edinburgh were full. They had to build a new graveyard in Leith as well, and then they actually built huts, right? The people who were still alive, victims of the plague, done it in Leith as well. They put them in these huts in a park, and then a doctor was appointed to look after them, and then when they died they were buried where they are. And then what was it about? I can't remember. It was about 100 years ago or something like that. They found another 3 bodies, right? 3 skeletons near Duddingston, and they reckon they were possibly Jacobites because when Bonnie Prince Charlie came to Edinburgh in 1745, he took Edinburgh. He couldn't take the castle, but he took Holyrood Palace. Holyrood Palace is just down there. And then they also camped out on the other side, behind where I'm standing now. Behind me is a place called Durnston, and that's where the Jacobite Bonnie Prince Charlie stayed in Durnston, as well as stayed in the palace. He stayed in a place called Durnston as well, and the Jacobites camped over that side. So they reckon the three skeletons, because they dated them back to the middle of the 18th century, and obviously Bonnie Prince Charlie was here in 1745, so they could have been Jacobite skeletons, but they never found out. Most of you have done Burke and Hare too. You know Burke and Hare, the so-called body snatchers of Edinburgh, who didn't snatch a single body. They just killed 16 people in a 10-month period. And their first victim died of natural causes, and they sold him to the doctor for anatomical purposes. So 17 victims in the total. And in 1836, there was schoolboys were playing in the park of Holyrood, and they discovered a little cave. They found a cave just further up here to the right. They found a cave, right, that they had never seen before. We did that when we were wee boys as well, you know. Obviously, there's somebody else who's been in the cave before them, but they thought they were the first people in the cave. And they found a box with 2 rows of tiny little wooden coffins in them. And each of the coffins, tiny little wooden things, they're on display in the museum in Edinburgh, some of them, the ones that survived. And inside the wooden coffins, there was little wooden figures. And the figures were very carefully carved and dressed as they were burial clothes. You know, they were dressed as if they were buried. So it's like somebody's went to the trouble of actually like really elaborately decorating the pieces, and pieces of tin as well. And obviously being boys, they played with them. And obviously they fell apart, some of them. But 8 survived, luckily. And they took them to the school teacher to show them. You know what wee little boys are like. Take them in, they played with them, destroyed half of them, and took the 8 that was left to show their teacher. And then somebody privately bought them. Well, there's Nessie back again. Don't know what I'm doing, man. What are you doing up here, Nessie? You just used to do random things for postcard shots as well, you know, because people really like taking postcards on Hago, didn't they? And you were always trying to figure out how to get funny or interesting. Well, I was. Some people were very creative and artistic about it, like Mark from Amsterdam, the puddle shot, you know, the reflections, and then Adam from Budapest with the vertical, the horizontal, vertical portrait shots. So yeah, they're actually doing archaeological digs on R4C just now. It's quite interesting, it's quite exciting actually. By the way, if you do come to Edinburgh, you can actually go on they do free tours. And obviously there's tour guides who do private tours as well, so you can actually do a private tour. I can do private tours, because some people come and you're not sure how to do it. But it's really easy, you just keep walking up the way. As long as you keep on walking up, you know you're going to reach the top. There are loads of different routes that you can take to get to the top. You can actually drive up to the car park at Dunsapie Lock, just behind me as well, so you can drive halfway up. That was nice of you, Linda. Yeah, so back to the coffins. So they don't know what the explanation is for the coffins, but they do think it's related to Burke and Hare. But whether or not that'll ever be found out. They've done tests on them. They found out they're made of Scottish pine, and they'd been adapted. They were actually little soldiers, and whoever it was just adapted them and changed them into like little figures. So some people think they're related to Burke and Hare because there was 17 of them. Some people think they might relate to gypsy burials, or they might have represented burials of people who had died at the sea or died abroad. And yeah, they do date back to the Burke and Hare period, so it could be a likely explanation for them. So I tell you what, I was a lot fitter in these days doing this tour. I wouldn't be doing this tour as quick today, I can assure you. Yeah, when I was a kid as well, I used to come up at Easter, because I lived just quite close here when I was a kid for a little short period of time, and we used to come up at Easter time, and you would roll hard-boiled Easter eggs down as well, you know, so people would come up to wash their face in the early morning dew on the 1st of May, and then Easter time you would come up and roll your hard-boiled Easter eggs, and so on. If you go to the art gallery, or is it the portrait gallery? I think it might be the portrait gallery. There's a or is it the national? Pardon me, is it the National Gallery? There's a painting of a famous painting of when Queen Victoria came to Edinburgh. Because a lot of the when Victoria came, the Arthur Seat was not as developed as what it is today. You know, the infrastructure wasn't there. So when there's like a road goes round it, you can actually drive round Arthur Seat. That's me at the top already. I can't believe how quick it took me to get to the top. So I started off at 32 minutes. Wow, 32 minutes it took me to get to the top. That would take me about an hour and a half now. Aye, when Queen Victoria came, Albert was kind of like given the task of making it more accessible and more pretty looking for the Victorians were like to put their stamp on things, didn't they? So they built a road, they built a couple of locks as well. A couple of the locks are natural locks, but a couple are man-made, and it was just to make it more pretty for Queen Victoria. So see, it's not that busy at the top actually. Is that a lady with a baby there? A lady with a baby. Yeah, it's usually busier than that, but it must have been because the weather was quite bad that day. You can see it's not that busy. Because I remember when remember Natalie from London? Maybe some people still go on their tours. When Natalie came to Edinburgh to do a few tours with me, one of the tours we did was Arthur Seat, you know, the volcano. Oh, my microphone! I've just heard my microphone broke on this tour for some reason. Very interesting. So there's Edinburgh Castle there. See the castle. Squeeze the finger. There's Calton Hill. Both fingers going up at the same time. So they used to quarry Arthur Seat as well, by the way. Can you believe it was quarried? They actually quarried it, and some of the stone was taken down to England, actually. Where the park is down below us as well was where they used to have like big galas and gatherings and so on. Look at the views. That's what I'm saying. It's the highest point in Edinburgh. So if you're still fit enough to walk, it is number 1 on TripAdvisor, usually, of things to do because it's free. As I say, it's 251 metres. I got up in 35 minutes. I'd say realistically it would take most people about 1 hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour to get to the top. Portobello is just here. Somebody must have been asking about Portobello. Dawn, that was you. Dawn. Dawn, you were asking me where Portobello was. Oh, that's me right at the top. Now, I'm actually scared of heights, so I hope you appreciate what I was doing for you there. Eh? Ah. Somebody's asking me, somebody must have asked where Hadrian's Wall is. Hadrian's Wall's in England, you know. So people have lived on this Arthur Seat, same as the castle. They've dated people living here for at least 3,000 years. But there's archaeological work going on just now, and that could date it back further. Look at the views. 360 degrees panoramic views of Edinburgh. If you get a beautiful, nice sunny day, it is spectacular to go up to the top. But as I mentioned earlier, it got voted the #1 walk in Britain. City centre walk. On Saturday for that. Look at the views. So that part of the volcano there was that was another volcano directly in front of us, and that was also quarried as well. I think it was the Duke of Dalkeith or some bugger like that, or the Duke of somebody quarried it, and a lot of the stone was taken down to London and so on. So a lot of it was used to pave London, and then they realised, oh, we're causing environmental damage, so they stopped doing the quarrying, which I was quite glad of as well. But yeah, I'm doing a tour tomorrow, slightly earlier, just a chat tour. I'm going to go up into Edinburgh and probably go into New Town, show you some different parts of the New Town tomorrow. Obviously, a lot of geologists come to Edinburgh as well. Let's get a bit busier now. Yeah, the father of geology is a Scottish guy called James Hutton, who resided in Edinburgh in the 18th century. And he was quite deeply involved in all the controversies of that time, because you've got to bear in mind that during the 18th century and so on, in the Western world, a lot of people thought the world was only 9,000 years old. Here's another picture of the volcano erupting. Somebody must have asked to see it. Yeah, and he was a geologist, so as I said, people thought the world was 9,000 years old, and he had started studying the rock formations, right, on Salisbury Crags, just down on the left-hand side there. And because they had been revealed by the quarrying, right, so after they'd finished the quarrying, they revealed these different types of rocks. And his theory was that the ingenious rocks were formed from hot, molten rock, which had been pushed up between older material and subsequently cooled and solidified, right? And you can still see them today in the quarry. It's called Hutton's section, actually. And what he realised was that the rocks were, in fact, millions of years old, not 9,000 years old. Britain actually became an island 9,600 years ago. After we had moved around and split off from Canada and America, we smashed into England. We then became attached to the mainland of Europe. Oh, I must have just finished that off quite early. Ah, there's Mike. Look. Whoa, what's happening there? Ah, yes. I'm just going to show you this actually. See this here? See this scene here? I'm making a train spotting video just now, and I'm actually going to recreate. I've filmed half of it already. The train spotting video is a professional video, but we're actually going to recreate this scene. Hopefully, the weather. I should see the weather outside now. Oh, gee whiz, the rain. See this?
Choose life. Choose a job. Choose a career. Choose a family. Choose a fucking big television. Choose washing machines, cars, compact displays and electrical tin openers. Choose good health, low cholesterol and dental insurance. Choose fixed interest mortgage repayments. Choose a starter home. Choose your friends. Choose leisure wear and matching luggage. Choose a 3-piece suite on hire purchase and a range of fucking fabrics. Choose DIY and wondering who the fuck you are on a Sunday morning. Choose sitting on that couch watching mind-numbing, spirit-crushing game shows, stuffing fucking junk food into your mouth. Choose rotting away at the end of it all, pissing your last in a miserable home, nothing more than an embarrassment to the selfish, fucked up brats that you've spawned to replace yourselves. Choose your future. Choose life. But why would I want to do a thing like that? I chose not to choose life. I chose something else. And the reasons? There are no reasons. Who needs reasons when you've got heroin?
So I'm going to recreate that opening. When they're running along the street, it's a bit longer than that actually. That's just a trailer, but yeah, the opening scene, because that's the only part of Train Spotting that's actually filmed in Edinburgh. So I filmed some of the locations in Edinburgh by the videographer, and all we've got to do is, we've actually got to do a scene up Arthur Seat as well, and we're going to recreate the scene in Princess Street with me running along the street as if I'm getting chased by a store detective. So yeah, so watch this space. Hopefully in the next few weeks the video will be getting edited and I'll be able to premiere my new Train Spotting video. It's just a promo video for my new tours, you know, so let's see. But yeah, that's the tour finished, by the way, everybody. So I'll just try and turn this on. 1 second, everyone. I'll just so just raising this up a bit so I don't have to. I'm going to be doing a tour tomorrow, so I don't know what camera to look in. I don't know about, well, we're going to try and do the running scene, but we need an extra person to watch the video guys back, because we're only two of us. Excuse me. And yeah, he needs somebody to watch who's behind him. So yeah, we're going to create the scene where I'm going to be running along Princess Street if I'm getting chased by a store detective, and then run down the steps, you know, running down the steps. And then I don't know how we're going to do the bit with the car. You know, when he gets he hits the car as he's getting chased. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. But anyway, that's what we're going to do hopefully next week at some point. So yeah, so thanks very much for coming with me today, everyone. It was just I couldn't get out. I mean, if you should see the weather just now, the rain is actually torrential, 35-mile winds. So the tour tomorrow is slightly earlier. I think it's 1 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm just going to be I'm going to show you it's a chat-friendly tour, but I'm just going to show you a couple of different parts of the new town that we don't normally go to, and I'm going to see then how the signal is. I'm going to be meeting Mike O'Rourke tomorrow. He's going to be selling my tours on his website for me as well. Visit Scotland are almost ready to start selling my tours on. I've got a ticket selling agreement with Visit Scotland. I've already got my flyers on display in the shop, and they have been recommending me for tours to tourists who have been coming in. But they're actually going to sell my tickets for me in the shop, and that shall make it easier for people to book on my. And they only take 15% commission as well, so that's quite good. So Mikey's he does mostly driving tours of Scotland. Mike O'Rourke, you know that he used to be on Hago as well. Mikey, he's a nice guy. He's a blue badge guide, so he does a lot of driving tours, like whiskey tours. He takes people away for like day trips and 2 or 1 week tours and all that, you know, individual clients, families. So he's going to sell because I do mainly walking tours this year. So he's going to sell my tours on his website for me, so with a 15% commission. So I'm meeting Mikey tomorrow after my tour, so I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, 1 o'clock tomorrow, chat friendly if you like, and I'll just show you some different parts of the new town in Edinburgh. So hopefully 1 or 2 of you can join me then. I hope you've enjoyed the tour today. Sorry for the coughing now and again. As I said, I just got this new inhaler actually. I've been diagnosed with COPD, and I've been getting inhalers for my asthma. But they gave me this new one today, so for my it's not an asthma inhaler, it's for COPD. So I took that for the first time. I only take it once a day. So let's see how this goes. And I've been put on steroids, and I've got to go for blood tests on Monday. I've lost a bit of weight, you can probably tell. Yeah, so sorry for not doing as many tours over the last couple of weeks, but I've just not been mentally able to do it either. Just been a bit So thank you very much everyone for coming on my tour today, and hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow. Have a lovely evening or a lovely day, and thank you very much for coming on my tour, by the way.